Yeah, get it on. Got to get on the church. Got a minute. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. I love that about you. Brad Williams in studio.
That is true now.
Always excited to see Brad in studio.
Yeah, buddy.
We've been doing some news. We got maybe some Ted Koppel, BIN network stuff to get into. So that should be fun.
Expanding my horizons.
I got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
But don't agree just because I'm sitting here.
Okay.
Give me your take.
Okay.
Somebody tweeted me. They were angry that I explained that women are more violent than men. And the way I always could tell, my example of women being, well, first off, it's all chicks fighting all the time now when I turn on the news, which I never saw in the past. But the example I use, but I'm adding a second one.
Okay.
If any woman I've ever been with, if we're in the kitchen and I stepped on their foot by mistake while I was making an omelet or stepped back or something, the hand comes sailing out. They just punch you. Guys don't do that. Guys, I would never, if a woman elbowed me by mistake or stepped on my foot, my hand, like my fist wouldn't come flying out and punch her. So, and guys also learn regulation because they spend a lot of time wrestling when they're kids, and you really walk that line of like roughhousing with your friend or hurting your friend. I don't think women get the regulatory genes, so the hands just come sailing out. But
I think it's I think Bill Burr has a bit of like women will do stuff like that because there is the knowledge, or at least their knowledge, that there can't be a physical repercussion, right? And they feel safe. I think. Yes. I think the joke he uses is like a ex-girlfriend will take a key and carve it into your car and say, "Susan did this shit,"
right?
And it's like a guy would never do something like that because he know that then you would track him down and then there would be frontier justice.
Yeah.
So
there's an optic societal aspect to it too. Of woman can't really batter a man. Although Brad, you could. Your wife's got a black belt,
multiple,
and 20 pounds on you.
Yeah,
so that's a real part of your future.
Yes, there is a fear.
But for most men, now the other way, my other piece of information that makes me think women are angrier and possibly more violent than men is they do this thing all the time where they go. Get somebody drunk and really see where they're at. See when they start complaining about the Jews or the coworkers or the coworkers who are Jewish. You get some real insight. And some people take it, some people go to Christmas parties, get liquored up, go find the boss and settle their hash because that's what they've been sitting on the whole year, right?
It's been there the whole time. It's just the alcohol pushed it right to the surface.
I think a truer version of that is when people are asleep. I think you learn their true personality. Now, I have a boy and a girl, and if I like come into my son's room,
I'm laughing because of an incident that literally happened last night.
Perfect. Yes. Okay. Perfect. If I go into my son's room and I think he's not in there because the blanket's over his head, and I go start doing something, he'll pull it up and go, "Oh, I'm sleeping," and then I'll go, "Oh, sorry," and then he'll go, "Sorry." Like he'll apologize to me for being asleep, and I try that shit with my daughter. Heads up, what are you doing? And I get out like a vase thrown at the door. Even if like you're waking them up to go to school or go to volleyball camp or whatever, they wake up in a completely. You wake me up at any time of the night in the wee hours, and I'll just go, "What do you need, son?" Or what's going on?
Yeah.
You wake a woman up, a fucking arm will come sailing out. "What are you doing?" You go, the dog's hopped up on the bed. Get him off the bed. Like,
so there's panic.
So that's literally the resting state.
How much
angry, and that's more than drunk. That is them knocked out.
Yes.
In their mind, they're on the back of a horse with Fabio on an island somewhere, and then all of a sudden the dog jumps on the bed. What's going on? Like, boom. That's much more than just having a couple of beers.
All right. So you may be writing what I'm about to say for the next, I don't know, months. Every time I come back in this studio, you may bring up this story.
Well, good.
Because literally, Crystal Brain Adam Carolla, last night, wife and I had a lovely dinner. We go to bed, and in the middle of the night, my dog, the 80-pound pit bull Diego, starts having a puppy dream, which is the most adorable thing.
The best.
He's just there. He's just... And his paws start going. It's the best thing ever. But because he's 80 pounds, his puppy dreams have a little volume to him.
Right.
And he hits some note, and my wife punches me in the face.
Perfect. It's
Straight
perfect.
up. And this is the third time this has happened.
Oh, my God.
I have been punched in the face 3 times by my wife. And the best part, the second one, I didn't even wake her up after this one. Mm-hmm. She literally did it and went right back to sleep. Mm-hmm. She just went, poof,
right.
It just punched me right back to sleep. And I'm like, what's the point?
Right.
And because the second time she did it, I got angry because there was some velocity behind it. And I was like, I woke her up and said, you just punched me in the face. You want to know what she said? No, I didn't.
Yeah. The no, I didn't when you're asleep it is amongst my favorite of the human traits. Like,
no, I didn't.
86% of the people I've awoken, male and female,
yes,
by the way, because I've slept with a lot of dudes.
Sure.
I had a roommate. We shared a futon in a 1-bedroom.
That's the clip you got to isolate right there.
I had
slept with a lot of dudes.
I had a roommate. We slept on bunk beds in the same room. I've always had roommates and dudes, and when I used to go out, when Kimmel and I would go out with K-Rock and stuff, we always slept in the same bed. Mm-hmm. When we went to Vegas with Big Tad for his 21st birthday, we shared a bed. I've shared a lot of beds with a lot of dudes. And the number one answer when you wake them up because you can't take the fucking snoring anymore is, I don't snore. And it's like... Well, now I'm a mad person.
Yes.
Now, and by the way, not only mad, the worst person.
You're the worst person.
So let's just reverse engineer this.
Yes, let's do
you
that.
You were laying there silently.
Yes.
Like I couldn't even hear you breathing. I wasn't sure. I was going to hold a mirror up to your mouth to see if you were alive. But at 3:45 in the morning, I woke up and I just decided to wake you up and accuse you of something you weren't doing.
Yes.
That makes me a horrific.
Yes.
That makes me a serial killer. The sociopath. It makes you a horrible person, man or woman, just waking up someone in their slumber and going, you're doing something you weren't doing.
I told my wife when this happened the second time, when I woke her up and it said, you punched me in the face, and she said, no, I didn't. I said, you should divorce me because I am a horrible human being.
You're horrible.
I just woke you up for no reason. And by the way, before I did it, I ran and did a Jimmy Superfly Snuka splash onto the end table just to have a little color on the side of my face, just so I'd have a marking to prove it to you. And then I came back to you and said, this will prove that I'm the better partner, and just woke her up and said, you did this. You did this.
By
the way, what do I have to lose or gain?
Nothing.
What do I have to gain? Nothing. No gain.
I had 2 of these incidents in my life. Now we'll take it to
now I'm fired up.
A business application. We'll get out of the personal for a second, but we'll circle back.
I'll get back to the personal.
One time, I went in. I haven't told the story in a million years. When I used to live up in the Hollywood Hills, and I ordered myself some Chinese food, and I went down to the place, and I said, hey, it's Adam. I got a takeout of it, and they handed me a bag. Mm-hmm. And I went back up to my house in the Hollywood Hills. It was way up. Under the Hollywood sign. And I opened the fucking bag, and it was nothing I ordered. And the maniac had ordered something that's always on the menu, and I always stare at it and goes, who the fuck wants this? Which is like cold beef salad, which I don't even understand. There is a beef salad, and it's cold, and you're ordering Chinese food. Anyway,
now,
I opened it up.
Not Carpaccio fancy.
No. And I just...
Oh, wow.
I looked at it and went, oh, fuck. They gave me the wrong bag. And then I went back down the hill.
Yep.
And I said, you guys gave me the wrong bag. I took this bag. I think my bag's back there. And she's like, you took the bag, And then I said, yeah, I know, but I gave you my name, and this bag says Rob on it, and you guys gave me the... And she goes, you said your name was Rob.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes me.
Now it's on you.
Now we're back to serial killer.
Right.
I'm an insane person.
Now, if you are a unhoused homeless person and you're starving and you come in and you just say, I'm Rob, I'm guessing you would take it and be like, cool, free food,
right,
and eat it.
Right.
No one would have the stones to walk back.
But what could my possible grift be?
Exactly.
I'm back.
What's the game?
I just drove up the hill, got out of my car, walked up 80 steps to my home, undid this bag, stood there for 10 minutes, and then turned around and came back down the hill. It's now been 45 minutes. All right. The other one, which was insane, was...
just these arguments of like, sit there, reverse engineer it. Okay, if what you're saying is true, what is this? What am I as a human being doing?
I've oftentimes queried that. I had another incident a million years ago when I was living in this apartment in North Hollywood with the futon and the bunk beds. I brought my tuxedo. I bought a secondhand tuxedo jacket, and I had it, and the buttons were all falling off. And I took it to the tailor, which was just like I just walked there off of Laurel Canyon and Magnolia, and I just brought it in, and I said, I need new buttons sewn on this tuxedo jacket. And the guy said, all right. And I left it off there. And then when I picked it up, it was in the bag. It was in the, dry cleaner bag or whatever. And I just paid the guy, and I went back to my house, and I put it in the closet. And then like a month later, something came up, and it was tuxedo time.
Yeah.
So I pulled the bag out, and the guy sewed on brass anchor buttons like you'd wear, like Ted Knight would
Navy?
wear if you were like with an ascot on a Navy blazer.
Okay.
Like these brass anchor
You're
buttons.
going to the Navy ball,
and
you just did an Instagram video asking Mila Kunis to come with you.
And I said, oh, God, they didn't do the black buttons. What is this? So I walked back down to the place, and I go, hey, man, when I was here before, you guys sewed the wrong buttons on this. Could you replace them with some black buttons? And the guy went, we didn't do that. And I was like, wow, that makes me a maniac. And by the way, balls as big as Montana, right?
Yeah.
Walking into rando tailor shops, telling them to replace the buttons on my tuxedo, demanding it.
Yes.
Because I'm looking to save myself $14.
Yes.
This is my grift. This is how I roll.
This is how the rich get richer at.
That's right.
You didn't know that.
So that was funny. It's always funny. I do like the subtle admittance of wrongdoing when they split the price with you. They go, okay, look, we didn't do that, but I'll do it, but we'll split the cost. And it's like, look, if you didn't do it, then you're fucking insane.
Yeah.
All right.
It's absolute madness. So now I have to sleep in bed with my wife now, with just the knowledge that at any given moment, I will be punched in the face.
Yes.
And then I just have to take that. And I can't call the cops.
Yeah.
That's not going to go well for me. It's not going. No, there's nothing I can do. This is just one of those things. I feel like this is her version of, there are some couples out there where right from the beginning, the man establishes, hey, you're my lady, I'm with you, but every now and then I'm going to get some strange. That's how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, and the woman just goes, no, all right, I don't like it, but I guess if I want to be with you, that's just something I have to accept. And this is my wife's version of that. Hey, I love you. You are the man of my dreams. You are the father of the children. You are the provider of the household. Every now and then, I'm just going to reel back and punch you in the face for no goddamn reason whatsoever. And your job is to go, thank you, sir, may I have another?
Small price to pay.
Small price to pay.
I think it illustrates my point that women are, the resting temp is more angry than men.
All right, pull up that Montgomery, Alabama video, and let's count the men and women.
I have it.
All right.
We'll break it down later.
I love this video so much.
I love it, too.
This is the greatest video on the
they're
internet.
talking about the dock fight?
Yeah, the dock fight.
The other one that always got me is I had this girlfriend who lived on the west side, and I used to work for Always Better Closets, and I'd be there at 7 in the morning, and Always Better Closets was... And... by the Burbank airport. She lived sort of where the Ivy is, like on the west side. And there's no way to get there except for all side streets and canyons. And I rode a motorcycle at the time, and I had to be there at 7, and fucking always hated it. I worked with born-again gangbangers, and I'd have to get up at 6 in the morning, get dressed, and get out. She did nothing all day. Her dad paid for the apartment. She lived there with her sister in Beverly Hills. Nothing to do all day, and I'd get up at 6, miserable, and I'd go into the bathroom, start brushing my teeth, and I could hear her from the bed go, "Shut the door!" And I'd be like, "Oh, fuck, bitch. I got to get on a fucking motorcycle and hang out with gangbangers all fucking day. All you're going to do is hear me brush my teeth for another 40 seconds, and you can sleep until noon." But she was pissed.
Yeah.
That's my point. All right. Now, I was watching. Now, it is embarrassment of riches on TV, because I did not know that Winning Time, the Lakers story, and Hard Knocks training camp.
Oh, they're back.
They dropped at the same time.
Yes.
I was like, I don't even know where to go. I'm caught between
What do you
two
do first?
supermodels with a boner
Yeah.
and a martini, and I don't even know what direction to go.
You have a prime Claudia Schiffer and a prime Cindy Crawford on either side of you, and both are ready to go.
I literally said, all right, I'm going to watch 10 minutes of Hard Knocks, then I'm going to watch 10 minutes. I'm just going to toggle back and forth. So
this is when you need like the
Dual screen or something.
Back to the Future 2 setup, where it's just like, give me channels 90, 42, 107, and you just have it all going on at the same time, just right in your veins. Give me all that shit.
And I was watching the Jets head coach give an inspiring motivational speech at the top of the show, and I think we have it for you, but I was dubious. I'm a big Crow fan. Everyone knows.
That's right.
He gave a Crow analogy.
Did they start off Hard Knocks with the sprinkler going? That's always when I know.
Slow motion sprinkler.
There's a sprinkler going.
Yes.
It's time for training camp. Da-da-da.
If you see a
love that.
child's ball rolling in slow motion across the street, we got a dead kid.
We got a dead kid.
And if you
That's
see a
gonna happen.
sprinkler going in slow motion, it's time for Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks.
That's how it works.
Let's go.
All right, we'll
Football's
play
back,
the
baby.
clip.
All right, you can take your pens out on this one. This is a life lesson for everybody. For everybody. 3 nights ago, I was in deep thought. And
This is untrue.
Yeah.
He fucking read this somewhere. This is fake news. I was outraged.
All
How
right, guys.
dare? And by the way, there is a team called the Eagles who are probably going to beat your ass this year.
And there's
So
also a
don't
team
use
called
them
the Ravens.
Yeah, do not use the two teams that are going to whoop up on you guys as a metaphor for soaring.
By the way, there are examples of Jets doing this. The team is called the Jets.
Yes, use
There are
the jet.
examples of jets flying into higher altitude, so to where you are a jet that can actually go into the higher altitude, whereas the fighter coming at you does not have that capability. There are military examples of your team
Talk about
doing that.
Talk about the Russians.
Crow.
Yes.
Talk about the Raven and the Eagle getting sucked into the inlet of the jet.
Yes.
Sully style.
Yes.
And eviscerated.
Yes.
Talk about that as a metaphor.
That would be like if there was some sort of example. If I was like, okay, I've got a bunch of little people in front of me. All right? Now I have to give them an inspiring speech, so I'm going to tell them a story about my wife's family that's Chinese making chocolate. Making chocolate. These Chinese people were making chocolate.
Right.
And we're sitting there going, Oompa Loompas are real, dude. Like, I
Right.
could use that as an example.
Yes.
That's the better example.
He had a much better example.
They're-
and this doesn't exist. I
Yes.
called Chris. I looked it up. I was like,
It's
this,
been debunked.
This is bullshit. Why would a
debunked
fucking
years ago.
bird? Now, look, the reason you can tell quick if a story's full of shit.
Yeah.
I use it all the time. But a few months ago, everyone was freaked out or upset. It's like there was a group of high school kids that were chasing down these spinner dolphins and corralling them. I'm like, no, they weren't. No, they weren't, because a spinner dolphin can swim 40 miles an hour and a high schooler goes 3 miles an hour. So you tell me It's like, oh, Mario Andretti got chased down in an Indy car by Roomba. It's like, I don't think that happened.
Yes.
And it's like, yes, it did. Yes, it did. I saw it. I saw a story about it. It's like, it did not happen. And I was just watching this, intrigued initially, this crow on the back of, first off, does the eagle not use air to survive? Because he's breathing the same fucking air, is he not? They're both just birds. They both are using oxygen to survive. If you did that with a fucking marlin, then he goes to the depths of the sea, and the otter can't hold its breath.
Yeah, if a piranha hops on the back of an eagle.
I got it, but
that makes sense.
Not another creature that needs the same air that this creature needs. Why didn't the air starve the eagle out? But I was like, this is bullshit. By the way, now I don't know if I believe anything I see on Hard Knocks anymore. Everything is coming to question.
With a lie. Yeah.
I don't know if. Also, Aaron Rodgers is now on the Jets.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers, over the past few years, has been admitted to taking many forms of psychedelics. Mm-hmm. This sounds like something that he would have seen in one of those dreams. That he would have been in an ayahuasca dream. It's like, I saw a raven on top of an eagle. The eagle was butt fucking a gnat.
You're right.
And then they were flying up into the sky, and then the gnat didn't give consent, so the gnat started going off. But the gnat's tiny. But the gnat had the eagle inside of its anus and just tightened up its little gnat sphincter and exploded both the eagle and the raven. I'm going to the Jets.
You're 100% correct.
Oh, he's having.
Every single depiction of an American Indian dropping peyote, there's always a hawk. Mm-hmm. There's always a bird up top. That's how you know the guy's tripping. He's just like the bird, and then he's seeing through the eyes of the bird.
Ball
going
always across the street, dead kid.
Right.
Sprinkler, Hard Knocks. Eagle soaring, someone's dropping peyote.
That's right. The vision of the eagle. When they see the eagle's POV, when they're looking through the eyes of the eagle, that's peyote.
Yeah.
Every time.
Absolutely.
So you're
By the
right.
way,
this is probably just a fever dream.
I support psychedelics. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just saying that I don't know if you have one of these sponsors. I don't know if one of the FanDuels or the DraftKings or any of those. Do either of them sponsor you? Nope. All right. All I'm saying is go to your favorite gambling establishment and don't take the Jets. Bet against the Jets, because if the coach is... Now, don't get me wrong. It's got to be hard being an NFL coach. You have to come up with inspiring speeches every practice, every halftime, everything. You got to find some metaphor somewhere of a beetle.
He's
pushing
probably
a ball
up
of
there.
dung
Check it though.
up a hill.
You're speaking you have cameras coming in. You have this whole new team that you have to at training camp. You got to look that up.
Yeah.
And he's in the locker room at halftime going, so there's this macaw and a toucan, okay? And they walk into a bar. So I was like, bullshit. This is bullshit.
Winning
This is internet. I went right over to winning time. I was like, moving
his
out.
His story sounds like the story that if two girls are drunk at a bar and one just got broken up with, this is the story that one drunk woman says to another drunk woman to try to get her back on the horse. Nah, so all right, I know you fucking left you, and he's a dick, okay? But like, did you know that a raven attacks eagles, and eagles like fly, like they fly like really high, like you know how they play like higher than that, and like then the raven just like suffocates, and you're the eagle.
That's right.
You are an eagle, and
Jared is the raven.
Jared, that asshole, he was the raven, and he was on your back pecking at your beautiful hair, by the way.
And I didn't choose the eagle. I didn't choose the raven metaphor because Jared's black, but it still works. Yeah. Now what? So you're a bird.
Yes.
You're a smart
Right,
bird. I've seen tapes of crows using tools to get goods and solving puzzles and everything else. You're smart enough to solve a puzzle, but you're not dumb enough to jump off the back of this thing as you're slowly starved of oxygen. Starved of oxygen to the point where you die.
Yeah.
You just die. You can't breathe anymore, and then you fall all the way to the ground.
You did to death, yeah.
Yeah.
And has anyone been camping or hiking and come across a crow that was on the ground dead and probably fell off an eagle?
That's
He ain't breathing.
It happens a million times a day. You're just like walking down a hike and you hear, "Arr!"
All right, now I don't know if I need to write this guy a letter or get involved or start
Do
a
you think anybody on
hashtag
the team
something.
thought what you were thinking? Like, this is bullshit, but I can't say anything.
Yeah.
It's training camp.
I think if anyone, it would be the interior linemen. I don't think the skilled guys, I don't think the lockdown corners would be there, but there is some fucking interior lineman, some white guy from Iowa whose dad was big into ornithology. And he said, this is bullshit, but he's looking to make the cut.
Yeah, I mean, hell, he grew up in Iowa.
He's a Falconer.
He played for the
right.
Hawkeyes, for God's sakes, in college.
He knows.
He went to Iowa. He's like, I know, but I can't just tell coach that he's wrong in front of everybody. So, all right, nod your head.
Right.
Did you guys know that the only animal that can surf besides a human is a rhinoceros?
That's right.
Rhinos, despite being larger than everyone, will knock down trees, whittle them with their horns, take them out, and surf on the backs of trees. It's been seen a million times. All I'm saying is if a rhino can maintain balance, you can stop a blitz.
Yeah.
Yes, coach.
Now, you raise your hand and question that, you're going to get a visit from the Turk. Is it the Turk who comes down the hall?
Bring your playbook.
Yeah, my greatest. You know my feeling? My feeling with the guy who cuts the guy, they just knock on the guy's dorm door and they go, get your playbook. They always do it. They do it at 6 a.m.
Yeah, why?
And I feel the same way. Now, look, if you're the FBI and you're raiding some, Mexican syndicate because the guy's been cooking fentanyl in his bathtub and you got to kick the door in, by all means, pre-dawn.
Yeah.
But when you're going after Lori Loughlin or
let him sleep.
Some guy who's a lawyer for Trump who you want to...
Yeah.
Don't kick at the door at 6 a.m. You're going to get someone shot.
Yeah.
Fucking dogs barking. The guy comes down the stairs, Roger Stone, and like a towel with a boner.
Yeah.
Hears all the commotion, runs in and grabs a shotgun. It's fucking knock at noon.
Yeah.
Let the person get a cup of coffee.
Something.
Well, let Lori Loughlin or open the door. Hey, what's up, pals? Oh, we need to take you downtown. All right, well, good. I'm already dressed.
Yeah.
Had a cup of coffee. You don't have to stand there and watch them get dressed in the bathroom so they don't make a run for it. What's with the fucking early morning milkman fucking call? If someone is
especially in
nonviolent criminal, he's not involved with a cartel, fucking give him noon.
Especially with football where it's like, it's not like you don't know where he's going to be in 2 more hours. Their entire schedule is regimented. So in their schedule, they have
fucking weight room and go get him when he's on the slide hack.
Yeah.
And just go, hey, man, I know you had a few more reps, but you're probably not going to need it. Come on.
Get your playbook.
Come on down. Yeah. But we got to roust you. You're confused.
Yeah.
Guys, his wife may be sleeping with him and punch him just instinctively.
I'm very triggered right now.
Yeah, women's teams, they have to do it at noon.
All right. So the Eagle Crow story is bullshit.
It's bullshit.
All right.
Has to be.
All right. We'll take a break. I got much more to get into right after this. Well, squeezing in one last summer getaway before you take off and head back to the salt mine. How about you protect your home with the latest innovation from Simply Safe Home Security 24/7 Live Guard Protection. With Fast Protect monitoring, Simply Safe agents can deter intruders through the Smart Alarm wireless camera, warning them that they're being recorded and that police are on the way. Voted Best Home Security of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. And these guys have been sponsored for a long time. We all use them here. You all know it. It's very ergonomic. It works. It's a great company. And they started because they didn't like the way other security companies were run. And right now, my listeners get 20% off any Simply Safe system when they sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. It's a huge offer. It's a limited time. So visit simplysafe.com/Adam. That is 2 I's, by the way. simplysafe.com/Adam. There's no safe like Simply Safe. I know we spend a lot of time on the show laughing about the podcast and making jokes and cracking wise, but I've launched a partnership with Lear Capital, and I'm starting to really feel the need to be serious just for a minute. I'm sitting here holding some coins that were sent to me by our partner, Lear Capital. And I don't know if you guys have heard about BRICS. BRICS is a group of countries, including Russia, China, that are spearheading a devaluing of the dollar as a global currency. They're discussing a new trade currency between nations backed by gold. This may explain why Russia and India and China have been collecting so much gold lately. So when you peel back the onion a bit, you may need to look at gold for your own portfolio, and that's where Lear Capital comes in. So do me a favor. Call 800-498-6450. Mention my name and ask for a free investment guide. Educate yourself and learn more about diversifying or even beginning a portfolio plan. That's 800-498-6450 and mention my name, Adam Carolla. One more time, 800-498-6450. Drop my name and get with my good partner, Lear Capital. Yeah. Brad's got shows all over the place. He's, is AL Alabama?
I'll literally go to my website.
Go to the
we're
website.
In Huntsville, Alabama. We're in Orlando, Florida. I just announced a tour of. I have until
look at the poster.
I have until July 2024 booked. I'm doing theaters. I came in here to plug the Irvine Improv, but they're all sold out. Yeah. But I'm literally going all over the country. So
Brad Williams,
over 60 dates.
BradWilliamsComedy.com. And if you don't think Brad is popular, I'll say this. We when you were here, 3 months ago, made this joke about 69ing, and I asked if you pulled a 34 and a half. And,
pretty good.
And I thought, that's funny. And then I thought, I'm going to try that on stage. Yeah. I did on stage. It gets a huge laugh.
Yeah.
They people do math faster than I thought.
Okay.
And it gets a big laugh. But it's predicated on knowing that Brad Williams is a little comedian.
Oh, you don't say, like, Brad Williams, my dwarf comedian friend?
I do, but I start the joke by going, do you guys know who Brad Williams is? And by the way, Brad Williams could be the name of an F1 driver. I mean, it's a common name. It could be the name of an actor.
Sure.
It could be the name of anybody.
Yeah.
But I go, you guys know Brad Williams? And everyone goes, yeah. They start clapping.
Yeah, it's an easy applause.
Right. So,
all right. Love it. Well,
I still set it up by saying little guy comedian,
yeah.
But there's strong recognition throughout the country.
When I got to open up for Brad at the Irvine Improv a while back, I told my friend, hey, I'm opening for Brad Williams. And he said, that's awesome. That's the big guy from Raymond, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Back down
Brad
to earth.
Garrett, back down to earth.
I'm not a dwarf, Raymond. I'm not one.
So
BradWilliamsComedy.com, selling out theaters. We've already the shows are a year out. We've already added shows in Albany, second shows in Albany, second shows in Pittsburgh, second shows at Foxwoods in Connecticut. It's going crazy this year.
That's great.
And it's a lot of fun. And I love it when your fans, when I do the meet and greet afterward and fans come up and say, love Jan Carolla. I immediately do Ted Koppel for him. And then they laugh. And then it's great.
Well, it couldn't happen to a better guy.
Thank you, sir.
Now, so there's another thing. Speaking of, fake crow news. But I told Chris to look it up, and he said there are many birds that attack eagles.
Yeah.
As birds are basically all drunken chicks who can fly. You know what I mean? You fuck with them, they're going after you.
Yeah,
it
you go
doesn't
after the
really.
nest.
Guys factor in size and talons and beaks and shit. Birds, that's why in England they call women birds. All they factor in is, I'm fucking pissed off and I'm going full kamikaze on your ass. I don't care if I'm giving up 10 feet in wingspan. I'm fucking coming at you.
There's a bird here that like smaller than the size of our fist that was attacking us.
I had to wear a helmet. I had to put a crash helmet on to walk out to my car because I was being attacked. And then once I got in the car, I thought, leave it on.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with a little safety.
Exactly.
And respect from the other drivers. So
I'd be horrified if I pulled up on the highway and some guy's got a crash helmet driving with the driver gloves. I'd be like, oh man, let him go.
So the story Chris debunked. He looked it up. They don't go up the altitude, whatever. But another thing I was asking him about, which didn't make sense, but I don't know if there's an answer, which is a ceiling fan running in a room.
Okay.
But nobody's in the room.
Okay.
Does it cool the room?
Ooh, I feel like this is a fight that has happened in many a home between many a parent and many a child, or many a spouse.
100% correct.
Yes.
Now, Chris looked it up. Now, it doesn't make sense to me that it could cool the room. I think if there's something where there's like maybe an air conditioning duct up on the ceiling and it blows some of the cool air down or something, but I don't see how it could physically cool a room.
So ceiling fans, unlike air conditioners, don't actually lower the temperature in a room. Instead, they offer a wind chill effect that helps you feel cool.
This brings us back to more fake news.
Yep.
So, and where we're at as a nation in general. My kids love to leave their ceiling fans on when they're not in the room.
Sure.
And the difference between men and women. I went and told my son when I found he was leaving a ceiling fan on. I said, "You guys shut your ceiling fan before you leave." And he goes, "It keeps my room cool when I'm gone." And I said, "No, it doesn't." And he said, "Okay." And he shut it. Then I had to have the same conversation with my daughter.
How'd
but
that go?
that went a different direction.
Sure.
Because there's no one and done with the ladies. It's essentially a merry-go-round of pain that never stops. No one has fun on and no one gets paid for, but it just keeps going. So I said to her, "Hey, you guys shut your fan." And she goes, this morning, she goes, "Keeps your room cool when I'm out of the room." And I said, "No, it doesn't." And she said, "Talk to Sonny," because Sonny said it does. And I said, "I told him it doesn't." And then she said, "So you're saying we're both wrong, the two of us, and then you are wrong."
Yeah, they have numbers.
And
I like her math. I like this.
I said, "Oh, it's possible for more than one person to be wrong." I mean, by the way, did you just not go through COVID in LA? Did you not experience what Daddy had to experience with thousands and thousands of people telling him he was wrong all throughout COVID? Yes, it is possible, even highly likely, that one smart person who pays the bills may, in fact, be correct, even if there's a group of others who think he's wrong. So shut the fan. But I don't know if she was watching Hard Knocks the night before and got bamboozled by the Eagles story with the wind going through the wings of the crow. Or I don't know if she was inspired by that. But I just thought more fake news going around.
I have literally back in the day, I had that same fight with my dad. I would like to keep the fan on. I would say it keeps the room cold, and then he'd be like, it circulates the air. That's all it does. It does that instantly when you turn it on. It doesn't keep it cool when it.
If I were your dad, I would have started with a hard jab to the gut. Like, "Son, aren't you worried you're going to hit your head?"
Yeah. No, what he should have done is punch me right in the face and be like, "You got to get ready for marriage,"
right?
And then punch me right in the face.
Yes, I've said it once. I will say it again. There is a little miniature red light on every appliance there is. The curling iron has that little red light, the coffee maker, everything.
My shaver has that light.
Tells you it's on or off.
Yeah.
The TV, everything has a little light. The VCR, the DVD player's got that little.
Timely
everything
reference.
has a thing. Everything except for the one thing we need it for, which is the ceiling fan.
Yes, which you will stare at.
My fucking kids leave, and then I get the remote. And then I also noticed that the spare bedroom that has nobody in it also has the ceiling fan running because we need to keep the ghosts cool.
Sure.
And then I pick up the remote, but I'm not sure which remote this fan is for.
Yep.
And then I walk around like an insane man. I hold it up and I click it, and then I stare at it.
Wait.
Is it slowing down?
Yeah.
Did I just put it on a slower setting? Or is it off and coasting? The world will never know.
That's what
because
made it
you
worse.
won't put an indicator light on the fan.
That's what made it worse. It was bad enough when it was just on and off. Then they have, we have you're taking off from an aircraft carrier.
Right.
We have, all right, it may blow some papers off the desk. And then we have the setting of nothing at fuck all.
Yeah.
Nothing at fuck all.
There's a setting that says,
is it on?
We're just filming an 80s cop movie.
Yeah.
And we're going to walk into a warehouse.
Yeah.
And we need some ambiance.
We need something
Some
moving.
We don't
Yeah.
need to move air.
It won't throw a fly off of its course.
No.
But that setting exists, and because that setting exists, it is damn near impossible to know when the fan is actually slowing down. Because yes, it's slowing down from taking off from an aircraft carrier,
Right.
and to this it's that. It's slowing down to that.
It's strictly aesthetic at that
Yes.
point. It
Yes.
is not moving fast enough to move any volume of air.
No.
It's just I like the look when
Yes.
I walk into a room. Like, I'll have a guy with a dried ice machine.
Yeah.
He'll blow a little fog into the air,
It's
and then
a
the
film-
fan
it's
will
set the
super.
mood, yeah.
It's a film noir. You'll wear a duster, and you say, out of all the offices that dame had to walk into that day, why did it have to be mine?
They'll use it in any movie from the 80s or 90s where the guy walks into the dark chop shop and he's the
yeah.
undercover cop, and that fan is in the window.
Yeah.
But it's moving at like 6 revolutions every hour, but that's just moving in the
Right.
background. That's what we need. And it's also way too dark to work on cars in
Yes.
that shop. It's never lit up. It's always like, I can't really see the fender. All right, let me ask you this then, Brad.
Okay. An indicator light
you-
or just a stick that you could hold up?
I have literally.
I need
I'm
a
not
stick.
trying to height shame you.
You don't
I'm
need
not
the
trying to
stick. Okay,
height shame
get it.
you. I have extremely long arms. The average height of a residential ceiling is what?
10 feet.
8 feet. What are you, crazy? That's a basketball rim.
Yeah.
The average height, like an average apartment, residential, nothing highfalutin. It's 8 feet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 6'2". I
Yeah.
can touch
Yeah.
if I want to know what size the ceiling is. If I can just barely touch it, it's at 8 feet.
Yeah.
Ceiling fans down another foot.
Yeah.
I've many times just reached up and grabbed it and pushed it the opposite way to see if it came back at me.
Yep.
To see if it was still on.
I would just hold it because you can feel if there's pressure going at you. if you
Not
kind
when
of-
it's going at one revolution.
Not
every time the
baby's
earth
cough
turns.
at the
right.
at the level of a baby cough.
I just give it a little
Just,
shove and see if it's comes back for more. But here's a question.
okay.
First off, all the talk about electric school buses and electric lawnmowers and rolling blackouts, and we don't have a grid that can support electric cars in California. No fan indicator talk. I guarantee you right now, in any given home in Southern California, there's 400 million rooms with a fucking fan going in, nobody home.
Yeah.
Let's dispense of this wives' tale that it keeps the room cooler, and we'll work the eagle and the crow one in as well.
Sure.
As long as we're educating people the myths. And let's put an indicator light on that. I mean, when you're telling all these big companies, you can't use the old kind of Freon you were using as a coolant in your air conditioning unit. You're going to have to switch over to some green-based thing that works. And the guy who manufactures air conditioners, like, that's going to cost us. We're going to have to retool the whole factory. Okay. I'm just saying add a little indicator light. That's all.
That's it.
This is going to go.
That's all.
You'll add $3 to every unit.
How did these wives' tales
And
get
how come
going? There's
none
so
of them?
many of them.
I've bought old-timey fans.
Yeah.
I bought newfangled modern fans. I bought the little ones. I bought the big ones. I bought every fan. Nobody's bought more fans than me. I love
You're
a fucking
the
fan.
leading fan.
I'm the leading buyer. Home Depot gives me an award every year. It's called the fan base, but it's ironic, but they have a sense of humor. I've never bought one that had a light.
Yeah.
I've never had one that tells you. How about a little chime that just goes, it's off?
No audio.
This
Up,
would be
nothing. Doesn't exist. Does
would
not
be-
exist.
This would be the equivalent of when they finally put wheels on luggage, and everyone went, "Why the fuck didn't we do this before?"
Oh my God. It took them
It was like
127 years to put them on a garbage can. As a kid, I just dragged that old galvanized steel, drag it across the
Sparks,
driveway.
rusting bottom.
Just boom. Okay.
So you should
But
put
Brad-
wheels on ceiling fans. Got it.
Wheels on ceiling fans.
All right,
Something.
but
on
let me
ceiling
ask you this.
fans. Yes.
Do you think Big Fan gets together every year with Big Blender? And Big Fan goes, we have a setting on our fan that does nothing. And Big Blender goes, okay, hold my beer. Because we have a setting on our blender that fires everything in the blender out of the top of it.
Yes.
And you want to talk about settings that are unnecessary.
Yes.
Your slow setting, that's cute, but ours will fire pina colada mix onto the ceiling. You understand? We have that setting on our blender.
Yes.
That is
And
an
then
option.
the Big Fan goes, why do you have that setting? Why do you have the
Exactly.
setting that does? Because we're that fucking good.
Yes.
We can design a product that has a setting that will fire everything in here out of the top of the fucking
Right.
blender. Even if you put the fucking top on and throw a bar rag on top of it and lean on it, still some will shoot
boom.
out the fucking mouth of the thing. It's
Yeah.
like, maybe you don't need that. I would like to attend the meeting of Big Blender and Big Fan and just go, perhaps it's 2023, everybody. Remember, maybe we should take that blender and not give it a setting that fires everything out of the top of it. And maybe Big Fan, we don't need the setting that does not move air.
And then I will add one more person into that meeting. The guy who did the dashboard lights for cars, who put a dimmer switch on the dashboard lights for cars. So you're at night, so you could brighten all your gauges, or you can turn them down. The guy that put the option to turn them off.
Yeah, because I've had that happen to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
"What?"
Yeah, I agree. Why is that an option?
Why? It's at night. I would like to see how fast I'm going. I would like to see every gauge on my car. Why is there an option to turn it just completely off? So it's like, well, because, we've had so many people burn their retinas with these bright lights during the day. It's just so much extra light. So we have to have that setting of just turning it off. And then you're driving at night, or at dusk, and it's slowly becoming night. You don't see it. You don't notice it happening. And all of a sudden you look down. How fast am I going? I can't see a goddamn thing.
Wonder why.
Who is that guy?
Why an option? Why is there an option to turn it off?
Yes. Were there complaints?
I guess just in case you're tailing somebody on a country road with no streetlights and you really do not want to be seen tailing
Yeah,
them.
like-
you're outrunning the law. at this.
Dive into a cornfield.
Yeah.
It does seem
We'll
odd.
lose them.
There has to be. The only time you need that is when there's a banjo playing. The cops are behind you. Yeah, I
Like-
feel the same way about the steering wheel adjustment, which is I'll give it 2 inches down and 2 inches up, but it doesn't need to go up to the point where it becomes horizontal.
Yes.
Like you're the skipper of a tugboat.
Right.
It just goes all the way up. You're driving a steamroller or something.
Well-
I'm telling you, Matt Silverstein, I think it was Matt Silverstein from The Man Show, and he went on to do Drawn Together. Anyway, fun guy, nice guy. Jew. Comedy writer.
Silverstein.
I hopped into his fucking 97 Cherokee once. We were driving to a shoot, and the wheel was all the way up. Like he was driving it.
How?
He was driving it.
Did he have two
like you
woodland
drive a
creatures running on
steamroller.
top of it to turn the wheel?
I don't know. And I just looked at it, and I was like, Matt, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, I got this car from my in-laws in Chicago. They just trucked it out. They flatbed it. They gave me the car. And I go, oh, when'd you get it? It's like 6 months ago. And I'm like, the steering wheel is all the way up in a weird position. And he's like, oh, it's adjustable? I go, man, give me that fucking thing. And I reached over to the console because they're all in a different place, in a different way, in a different car. And I just pulled it back and lowered it to a normal position. He's like, oh my God, thank God. I've been driving this way for fucking 6 months. I mean, it has a setting that, like, I guess if you're handicapped, you can get, if you don't have the use of your legs, you can get out of it or something. And obviously the shipping company just put it all the way up to move something in there or something.
Amazing.
He had no idea.
No clue.
I would have been suspicious. Like, why
Like,
did
this
Jeep
can't-
design a vehicle where the steering wheel is horizontal?
Like my arms have to be at 90-degree angles to steer this thing. Yeah, doesn't sound like the smartest.
All right. So we're talking
Brad
about.
just got into a car accident.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know.
I did. That's why you guys sent me an Uber, so thank you. So wasn't my fault on the 170. Oh, right over here, going south, and car stopped in front of me. I stopped in front of her, and then the person behind me, not stopping. Boom. And then I hit the car in front. So, but I was actually thinking of you during the car accident.
Thank you.
Because this happened in the far left lane, and the woman in the front started to get out. This is in the fast lane, and I went, no, let's go to the side, go to the right, go
Right.
all the way right.
Hero.
Can it drive? Yeah. Okay, go to the right. And then all three of us made our way over, did our business. Everyone's fine. Everyone's okay. One person didn't have insurance.
The person that hit you?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Where were they from? What part of the world?
Oh, they're
Sweden?
they're from the world. They're of the earth.
Worldly.
Yeah, they're
We're all
very
God's creatures.
well traveled. Yeah. And then so that we'd all exchange information over on the far side. But now I don't have a car. Because there's there's one part that it needs that is on back order, so I just got to wait for this thing to get repaired, and sucks. So now I'm stuck at home with a wife that punches me in the face.
My dream, I think my dream TV show
Yeah.
is just called Adam Enters Your Place of Work and Screams at You. And I would start with the blender.
I live that show.
I would go to Big Fan after that and
Yep.
scream about a setting.
Yep.
I would go to the Jets mini camp and
Yep.
scream at the coach. But
Yep.
I would go to LA City Council, the council meeting or the traffic control meeting, and I would just go, you do understand that
Yeah.
in this city, when people get into an accident, they stand in the freeway. They
Yeah.
get out of the car and they stand there.
Yeah.
Now, it fucks the shit up out of the freeway, anyone who's behind them, but also, do you want people standing in the middle of the freeway?
Yeah.
Because they're unaware of the fact that they need to pull it over because
Right.
you guys have not shared that information.
Nope.
You've not shared it.
I learned
now,
it from this show.
everybody is well aware of slowing for the cone zone
Sure.
and click it or ticket, but they do not know this information. Would you like to share it with them? Is there some way to convey this information with these people who are putting themselves in grave harm by
Yeah.
standing in the middle of a fucking freeway after a little paint was exchanged?
Yeah.
It's bizarre that they're like, we're not gonna put that word out. And then I would go in Butte, Montana,
Yeah.
home of Evel Knievel. They have signs that say if it steers, it clears. Why do they know this in Montana?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't
Where
you
there's no
share,
traffic.
Why wouldn't you share that with them? And then
Yeah.
you go, I don't know. And then I would fucking start screaming, and then I would grab like a piece of furniture, and I'd go at them like we're in a dock in Alabama.
Yeah.
And I would just fucking tear the place up, and I'd yell, "Get your fucking shit together!"
It's so amazing that as you are a comedian, you start traveling, you go to different parts of the country, you go to different parts of the world, and you see how they do it in different states, you see how they do it in different countries, and you go, why don't we do it this way?
I at 1,000% screamed that a million times.
I was just in Montreal, Canada, and the luggage carts, theirs are free.
Right.
And they have places all over the place that you can put them back. It's a wonderful system.
Yes.
Everybody does it.
Yep.
It's amazing. I
Yeah.
travel with 3 huge merch bags when I go on the road, and this is gonna shock you, but at 4'4", 120 pounds, I can't lift 3 full merch bags. So I need these carts, and it is a fucking. It is a trek. I have to get out a lantern. I need a Sherpa. I need someone to guide me to these goddamn carts in every airport. It's unbelievable.
Look, if I were the mayor of Los Angeles or the governor of California or the president of the United States, I would just go, look, let me tell you something. I'm not interested in testing any policies. I'm not interested in any pilot programs.
None.
I am going to fucking travel the world, and we are going to cherry pick every fucking good idea from every country and or every state.
Yes.
If they're doing it better in Florida or Texas or Alabama, then that's what we're doing. I'm going to implement it here.
Yep.
And by the way, if their shit doesn't work, like, in the Bay Area, they're doing a clean needle exchange where they give the junkies just enough fentanyl. If it's a shit show, guess who's not doing that?
Yeah.
I will just go pick all the good policies. I'll throw out all the bad policies like a gin rummy hand, and that's what I will implement.
Yes.
It's super easy.
It sounds insane, and now we're not living in a time where it's not the Game of Thrones time where it's like, well, how do they do it over in that kingdom?
Right.
Send a raven.
Right.
Like, we don't have that.
You can go online.
You go online.
We don't even need to buy tickets to an airliner.
We need a secretary of efficient shit.
Yes, yes.
That's what we need.
I mean, I nominate
you, Mr. Carolla.
Thank you. When I was yelling at Gavin Newsom about if it steers, it clears, he was just like looking at me like, what? Come on. What are you talking about? I was like, it's something that they recognize as a problem in other states, and we don't do it here because nobody's aware of that. He's like, okay, get out of here. He had no interest in it and thought I was fucking around.
Well, I think you always talk about the freeway signs and things like that. Nobody listens to the freeway signs. Whatever they say, buzz driving, drunk driving, clicker ticket, whatever. But if you had cops fining people for blocking traffic and not going to the right, then people would listen and it would be supported because the city gets money.
Yeah. And it would stop getting people killed as well, which
we don't read
happens.
the freeway signs because we're so used to the freeway sign being like, hey, happy St. Patrick's Day. It'll be your lucky day if you don't drive drunk.
That's literally what I look at freeway signs. They're just holiday indicators for me. Like, drunk driver, call 911. I'm like, what holiday is it this weekend? Like, that's all I think about.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm with you as well. But if we dispelled some myths like the whole crow and the eagle suffocation and put that prominently on those things, I think you'd get some eyeballs.
I think you would.
You're not tuning out for that.
But by the way, you can stand next to your microwave. It's fine.
Oh yeah,
you're not going to get cancer. You're good.
Yeah,
just have that. By the way, this is bullshit. And there's a whole video of Neil deGrasse Tyson breaking it down.
I honestly didn't know that.
You never heard that myth?
No, I heard the myth. I didn't know that it was okay to do. I'm still avoiding it.
I think I know where a lot of these wives' tales come from. Well, wives. They're women who don't do the research about the ceiling fan.
It all makes sense now.
But I had a hippie mom, and she didn't want to buy anything or spend any money on anything or purchase anything that brought anyone pleasure or gratified them ever.
Sure.
So she would be like, I'd go like, can we have a microwave? And then once you get the microwave, then you get all the fucking yummy food that goes in the microwave.
Yeah.
You get all
that you can make by yourself without your parents or whoever the heck was cooking for you. Anyone was
she didn't want the yummy food, and she didn't want to buy the microwave. So she said, it'll give you brain cancer. And then that was that. And then she was like, color TVs, that was another thing. She even went as far as a pillow was bad for you. You shouldn't be sleeping on using a pillow, which is like, are you just trying to save $8, bitch? Or do you really believe this shit?
Yeah.
But she just announced everything was bad. Like you go, how about we get some Lucky Charms in here, Captain Crunch? Like, you understand it's more healthy to eat the box. Literally more healthy to eat the box that the Lucky Charms comes in. All right, I guess we're done with the fucking Lucky Charms.
I guess we're not getting
now,
that.
if I'm going to get brain cancer and eat cardboard, then I guess this conversation's over. There was a real 70s thing of the box is more nutritious than the actual contents of the box. And my mom would pitch that shit, and all it meant is, fucking, I'm going to Chris Bohm's house. He's got a microwave and Lucky Charms. I'll just fucking go there and eat.
And a tumor, allegedly.
Right.
Because he stood too close to the microwave and he ate the sugary cereal.
Oh, God.
Yeah, there's so many of these myths. I don't know if you guys ever got this one. I've never met any. One thing that my mom would say is that we'd be driving at night, and I'd be like, hey, can we turn the light on? I got to either read or I got to look at something. I got to find something. I got something. And my mom would say, no. If you turn on the interior light at night,
Dome light.
the dome light, it blinds the drivers behind you.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what the fuck is the wattage of this dome light? What is, like, is this a spotlight
We gotta
that's
keep
going
our
in the back?
dash off too.
Yeah. We got to turn that down because now I've been driving now. I'm almost 40 years old, which means I've been driving for about 24 years. Never in my history have I ever been driving at night and being like, fuck, dome light. It's never happened. So why the hell did that start?
Oh.
Why?
I'm going to tell you what I got much to say about this, Brad.
Okay.
Because you remind me of everything all the time. Here's the thing. First with the moms.
Yes.
When you're a kid, you just think your mom knows everything.
Yep.
But then later on, you're like, oh, this is the dumbest person in the world. And I was taking everything she said as gospel.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be like if I was a foreman on a construction site and I didn't know anything about carpentry, and he was just going, measure twice, cut once. No, what you really need to do is never measure at all and cut twice or 18 times. I was like, all right, that guy knows he's got a mustache. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I was, throwing a level on a wall, and he's like, don't put it vertically, stab at it with the level. Stab it. You got to jab it with the level. And then at some point you become a carpenter and you think back on this person, you go, oh, they're a fucking total idiot. They're a fucking idiot. And I was trapped with them, listening to them. Like, oh, what's the pillow going to do to your vertebrae again? It's going to throw you out of alignment. And what's that microwave? That's going to give you brain cancer. And then what about the cereal box?
Yeah.
And you just walk away going, you'd be better off eating because you're fucking 9.
Yeah.
And then you get older and you go, oh, they're fucking dumb and insane.
Who the hell?
And I had to they had rules, and I had to abide by those rules. But the dome light,
Yeah.
can we establish this?
Okay.
Can we establish this? The dome light for an automobile
Okay.
can either sometimes be turned on by the dash, like a knob on the dash. Like it used to be, some of them be like, turn it one click, driver's lights, turn another click, headlights, and then turn it all the way to the right and click it, turn it off, or turn it one more, the dome light will come on. But there are no rules. There are dome lights that do not possess a switch.
Yeah. Now you just tap 'em.
You push them.
Yeah.
You pop them. Like playing whack-a-mole or
Yeah.
something, right? There's those dome lights. Then there's other dome lights where there's a switch up top, but I'm always driving and I hit it and the sunroof starts opening, and then I hit again, and then the shade goes over the sunroof, and then I hit. It's unclear, is what I'm saying. Now, I got another one to piggyback here.
Okay.
Could we just okay, when I'm in charge,
Yes.
there will be certain rules.
Secretary of Efficient shit.
And look, you don't get to just start making cars that are right-hand drive for the United States. You just don't have it. I would say the dome light, and then I'm going to add another one to this. There's certain things what I would call rental car rules. I don't want to have to climb into a rental car and try to figure out where the fuck the windshield wipers. You ever do that move where you're in the rental car and you're like, oh, it's starting to drizzle. I'm turn the wipers on and you flash the high beams at the guy in front of you and you're like, sorry, dude. No.
Sorry.
So you're getting out of the car with a fucking tire iron. I wasn't doing that. I meant to turn the wipers on, but it's in a different place in my car. Some universal shit. The one we really need to go universal on, the hatch and or trunk pop button.
Yeah.
I went to fucking Burbank Airport. I was there with Mike August a few weeks ago. We valeted his car. The valet guys dropping off the cars got the luggage.
Yeah.
He goes to the back of Mike's car. He's feeling under the ledge.
Yep.
You feel something. You start pushing it in, and then you hear the crack of the lens of the light that lights the license plate. Like, it's not that. Then you slide your hand over a little, and you feel something else. You start pushing. This poor fucker was just, and it's always filthy too. It's always just dragging your hand along this
Dust
thing,
and
pushing. I drive different cars, drive my daughter's car now. So it's always a thing. There's always the person behind you, like when I'm going with August, like, August, I'm driving, throw the merch bag in the back. We're going to Burbank Airport. I see him standing there in the rear view with his hand dragging. Then he does the pop it. pop it with the key thing. And I'm like, I think I have to stop the car. Its car's running. Put it in park and then pop it. But I don't know where the key fob is. Like, it feeling. Mike's car, an Infinity, about 7 or 8 years old, just has a single chrome button on the outside. This poor dude is dragging his hand along the bottom edge, feeling. There's no indicator. There's no arrow. In every race car I have, there's a fucking sticker with an arrow that points to the tow hook, and it points to the fuel cutoff. Like, it points to the shit that people outside the car that need. You're just dragging and feeling. Every car I have, it's unclear whether you can pop it while the car's running. Maybe it needs to be in park, or maybe you need to shut it. That when I was a kid, we had trunks. The trunks had a big, fat chrome button. It was just an Audi belly button. It didn't matter if you were driving a fucking BMW, an Opel, or Buick. It didn't matter. They all had the same button.
Right.
It took a key, and you just pop it. There's no human being that couldn't walk up to that and just push it in and pop it. Now, every car has it in a different place with a slightly different modality, and it's all hidden to the eyes of the world. And everyone just drags. It's a hand drag, and it doesn't feel like anything because it's just we just keep pushing the rear camera lens up with our finger, and everyone's getting angry, and like the key fob.
Breaking off the Cadillac logo like what was it?
This poor Mexican guy with the bags he never found Mike's thing. Mike, I was like out ahead of Mike. I did the, thing where Mike's going to get the baggage carousel and I'm going to get the valet. This poor fucker never found it. And I didn't find it either because it was up top, but it didn't protrude. It was just a single button. Yes. Does it have to be in a different place for every car? Can we just at least agree to put it in the center? Some are like off to the fucking right. I can't.
Yep. You also say like how they like you have to have side markers on cars, right? They should be a uniform place for.
This is where
the dome light on and off is one button in the same fucking place on every car manufactured in the United States, and we won't let it into the United States if that thing's not in the same place. And the trunk hatch pop is all in the same place all the time. Every car.
This is the goat cheese pizza of the automotive world
for me.
The passion fruit iced tea of the automotive world. Oh, this is what works. It's worked forever. Well, but this is how we do it. We put the button under the rear view mirror, and you have to have 2 keys do a nuclear time like 3, 2, 1, go, and you do that.
Mission Impossible style.
And then the trunk pops because we just think that's more fun.
Somebody run out. August's car is parked out in that parking lot. Take a picture of the back of that car. It's up top, but every car manufactured in the last 8 years has it at the bottom.
Right.
And all you can do is blindly feel. I've even taken a knee in a parking lot and went like, where the fuck is that button? Because I've been pushing on the camera lens the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
All right. We'll take a break. We got some news. We'll do that right after this. Let me tell you about microdose. You probably heard about microdosing. All sorts of people are microdosing daily. Makes them feel better, healthier, better performance as well. And our show is sponsored by Microdose Gummies. Microdose Gummies deliver perfect entry-level doses of THC that help you feel just the right amount of good. Because I know a lot of people have had some bad experiences. This just comes on like a beautiful, soft summer breeze. Microdose is available nationwide. And if you want to learn more about microdosing THC, go to microdose.com, use the code ADAM to get free shipping and 30% off your first order. So links can be found in the show description. But again, that's microdose.com, code ADAM. Check it out. I think you're going to like it. Let me tell you about Angie Homeowners. You know, it's a lot of work to own a home, whether it's everyday maintenance, repairs, or dream projects. It can be hard. Even know where to start. All you need is Angie. Your home for everything home. Find a skilled local pro who will deliver quality and experience. Over 20 years of home service experience. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie handles the rest. Look, you're busy. You don't have time to do all this stuff. Let Angie handle it. Take care of just about any home project in just a few taps. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit online. Visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com. ANGI.com. That's Angie. Let them do all the heavy lifting.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Ace Man, Annie here, born and raised in San Fernando Valley, made it out here to the promised land of San Antonio, Texas a few years ago. A town that you may want to put on your list of places to move. Not only does it have a P.F. Chang's and a Top Golf, but the click it or ticket signs do not say click it or ticket. They say, make sure your tires are properly inflated. Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Fucking utopia.
San Antonio, I'll be there. LOL Comedy Club. A couple of weeks. We sold out all the shows, but we added a second show on Thursday. So yes, I will go there and I will report and see if this is true. Because if it is, pack up the kids. We're going.
Brad does this bit where he gets up there and he goes, Adam Carolla, and everyone just sits there silently shaking their head. Comedian Adam Carolla? Oh. All right, I'm going to do the joke anyway.
Yeah,
all right, what do we got in the news?
Well, this is in the news, and Brad is definitely qualified to comment on it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, but so Hugh Grant being cast as an
Oh,
Oompa Loompa.
I've got thoughts.
Good.
Yeah, a lot of people are outraged.
Yeah.
What's going on?
All right, here's the deal. Hugh Grant is an Oompa Loompa. First of all, they're doing a Wonka origin story. I don't know why they're doing that. He did it perfect, okay?
Gene Wilder.
Timothy Chalamet, hashtag not my Wonka, okay? Not my Wonka. I don't know why they're doing this. But then they have Hugh Grant. All right, you've heard of blackface? This is orange face. Hugh Grant is an orange face right now as an Oompa Loompa taking parts away from my people. Now, I hear the arguments already, but Brad, wasn't that a negative stereotype and now people make fun of you because they call you Oompa Loompas and stuff like that? Yes, you are absolutely right. And I'm fine if we took away the Oompa Loompa part and gave it to other people, if dwarves had a cornucopia of other roles that we could play. If it was just like, oh man, we're tired of all these dwarves just all over movies. They're just everywhere.
Yeah.
No, we don't have that. We have 3 goddamn parts that we could play. We got this, we got elves, and we got dwarves and Snow White, and they took that away too.
Oh, I don't want to fucking harsh your Mel any more than it already is, but I watch Hard Knocks Training Camp, and I watch Winning Time.
What?
Nary a dwarf.
Nary a dwarf.
Not in any way, shape, or form. I mean, Winning Time is a cast of 150.
Yeah.
Not one guy. Not
one
a fucking
little
ball
person.
boy. That doesn't exist. And don't get me started on Hard Knocks.
All
There's
the
nobody.
inclusivity, like all the inclusive casts and everything.
Yeah.
Why aren't dwarfs included? With
That's my thing. And you can do that. Don't get me wrong. I have problems with the University of Alabama, but one thing that they do, their ball boy on the sideline, always a little person.
Is this in football or basketball?
This is in football.
Oh, the guy who removes the kicking tee?
I don't know if he does that or like he's always got a ball on the sideline. He came to my show when I was at Stardome in Birmingham, Alabama, which I'll be coming back there soon. But he came to my show. I took a photo with him. He's a damn legend, and he told me, he's like, yeah, the guy before me was a dwarf, and the guy before me was,
And the guy
before
after
him was a
me.
dwarf. And I'm like, God, this is amazing.
Let me ask you a general.
This is awesome.
Let me ask you guys a general football safety thought that I've never even thought of. And I don't know if they still do this. So Chris, you're going to have to look it up.
Okay.
I think they still do it. There is a job which equivalent to the tennis ball boy who goes sprinting out there and grabs the tennis balls and runs to the other side. Which they should give that job to a fat dude. But like an athletic fat dude, like Chris Farley or John Belushi, like the guys. Once in a while, there's a
Kevin
fat
James.
dude who can fucking move. Kevin James,
quick fat.
the fucking the capacity crowd would be delighted with a Chris Farley type who just hustle, ass crack hanging out, shirt
he would
pulled
get a
up,
standing ovation
belly hanging
when he
out.
made it back in time.
So there's a job in football which is sprinting out and grabbing the kicking tee.
Yeah.
They give it to dogs even, I think.
Yeah.
Sprinting
I think there
out
was a
and grabbing the
college that did that,
kickoff,
yeah.
kicking tee while the ball's in the air.
Yeah.
During the kickoff.
Yeah.
Right?
I think,
And then someone would go, well, why? Why not wait till the plays come to an end and then do we remove the kicking tee? And the answer would be like, well, somebody could roll an ankle or something if they ran onto the kicking tee. Okay, that's an argument. But I'm going to make the same argument.
Yeah.
Do you think taking a special needs kid or dog and having them sprint across the field, who could easily fucking trip and fall on your face or roll an ankle themselves, with guys who run 4.40s and weigh 230 pounds all coming at you like a fucking herd at 80 miles an hour? There's some danger that's inherently baked into that? Like, what's a greater danger? The guys who have their ankles taped and run the 4.340s avoiding this piece of plastic that they're never going to get to? Or taking the son's coach who's 9 and is on the spectrum and having him run across the field while the play is going on? Does that feel... And are there any other sports where as the play is going on, somebody sprints out there? Like you're going to drive the NBA court with the mop, or in javelin or discus. I'm just going to run out there while it's going on.
There is an example of this. Dusty Baker's kid. Dusty Baker. It was in the playoffs when he was managing the Giants, and his son was about like 5 or 6. Was the bat boy.
Right.
You'd run out and get the bat. His son ran out in the field and got the bat while the play was happening, and a play was happening at the plate. And JT Snow, the player JT Snow, ran by, grabs him.
I remember seeing that. He was an angel.
He was
literally an angel.
Yeah, and now he's for the Giants. This is in the World Series against the Angels.
Right.
Barry Bonds hits it deep. Not a home run. JT Snow grabs the kid, saves his life.
Yeah. It was put on waivers at the end of the season and cut.
Bring your playbook.
So there's your example. It happened in baseball. JT Snow, a hero, and now I think his kid might even be about to make it to the majors, or he might be in the majors. I'm not quite sure.
Well, let's just say this.
Drafted.
We probably shouldn't have underage family members running out onto the field, whether it's to collect a bat or the kicking tee.
Yes.
Because you really couldn't explain the rules to a 5-year-old, for Christ's sake.
Because his rule, you just tell the kid, hey, go get the bat. When the player drops the bat, go get the bat. So the player dropped the bat. Barry Bonds dropped the bat. He runs out there to get the bat. Meanwhile, it's coming home. Everyone's running.
Do we have two
JT
odd
Snow.
examples of kicking tee retrievers?
Yeah, so one of them, the reason we don't really know about these guys is because obviously the camera is off them during the play. But this is a guy in Texas. His name is Hawk for Houston football. So here's how he grabs the kicking tee once right after the kickoff.
Okay.
And all the action's going. So he sprints over, dives for it. He comes back, and now he's like a star.
Yeah.
But then Boise, you were just in Boise.
Yeah.
They have a dog named Pint.
I'm just saying, does this kind of open things up to litigation? Like, isn't somebody just going to get fucking crushed or kicked or smacked? I mean,
there has to be a return.
Why is sending a dog out on the field during the play safer than leaving a small piece of plastic out on the field? Why does it need to be? We're opening ourselves up to danger.
There's a lot. That's a big gamble.
So here we're watching Pint.
Yeah, this is Pint.
Pint runs out there.
And he's obviously faster than Hawk.
Hawk was a heavy-set dude with a mullet. There's a fair chance he may have a coronary and collapse at some point and be face down on that table with a whole bunch of cleated men running right over the top of him. All right. Do you guys know?
Okay.
You got to find this one. In terms of people on the field during the actual game, do you know that during a javelin throw,
Oh boy. Not the time where you want
some
this to happen.
referee wandered out on the field and was completely run through with the javelin?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys remember that footage?
I have heard this story.
Well, if there's footage, I don't want to see it.
There's footage. The guy lived. The guy, I guess, was, I don't know if you're ever fine after that.
I thought it went through his leg. I could be
But it went
mistaken.
through him. Now, it's kind of on him because you can't be talking on your phone and wandering out on the field during the javelin.
He was playing Pokemon Go, to be fair.
Right.
Well, there's one that happened. It looks like last year.
Oh, no.
Oh,
The
wow.
one I'm talking about is like
Happened
30,
again. But
30 years ago.
Then there's one in 2012. It says Time Magazine said javelin toss goes horribly wrong and a referee dies.
Oh, don't do that.
No,
one.
this one was like 30 years ago or something. At least the one I'm thinking. Well, now, the fact that it happens more than once
Yeah.
is...
Once it happens once, we should be like, all right. So
Yeah, German referee dies as javelin pierces his throat.
Oh, we
I
don't need
don't
no,
want to
no,
see
no.
that.
Exactly. Well,
I
I'm
got to
just
beat
saying, like-
off later. I'm not that much later, but
We don't wanna see
after
that.
the show, we'll just say.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
all right. So it happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
Just
All
kind of
right.
shows that it's an efficient weapon.
Again, listen, I love fat guys with mullets hustling, and I love dogs who are well trained, but
Yeah.
I still feel like let's really just weigh our options between somebody out on the field of play when there's 22 guys out there running like banshees and or leaving a small piece of PVC plastic at the 35-yard line. I'm just going to weigh my options.
Can you just have the kicker? Like the kicker doesn't want to make the tackle anyway. He kicks it. He reaches down and he's got like a little belt loop and he just clicks it on. He's got a carabiner on the kicking tee.
All the kicker
And then that's fine.
needs to do is, and by the way, if you make the rules for every team, then everything's equal. Your kicker has to kick the ball and then bend down and grab it and chuck it at the sideline, in
Yeah.
which case someone's going to get blinded. And kickers aren't known for their arm.
Right.
But make him responsible for it. Let's go
Yeah.
with the carabiner. All right.
Yeah.
Wait, Oompa Loompa. Oh,
Yeah.
Oompa Loompa.
Still mad.
All right. I do hear when your people talk about taking jobs away, but you make a reboot of Willy Wonka every 47 years and it's
Yeah.
one role.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many people's lives that impacts in your community.
Hey,
it can't be hundreds.
It may have affected mine. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, wow.
It may have affected
Yes.
mine. And now, so it's like, who would it affect? Me. Now,
That's right.
Now I'm pissed. And now I think I'm going to go remake 9 months. And I'm going to remake it with an all dwarf cast because fuck you, Hugh Grant.
We need some more all dwarf cast.
I
movies.
Yeah.
do, I don't want to twist the knife or the javelin, but also the Seven Dwarves. Not so dwarfy. I saw some pictures of this crew.
Now it's this.
Looked like one dwarf in there. And
There's one dwarf and then a bunch of guys that are playing hacky sack in Portland.
yes, that's what it looks like. Yes.
Fucking assholes.
And it's diverse and there's women and
That's fine. By the way, there are diverse dwarves. There are black dwarves and female dwarves.
Strike two.
Do that. Do that. Because now I don't even know if they're being called the Seven Dwarves, obviously, because they're not. They're being called like Snow White and the Seven Magical Beings, and I imagine that 6 of them are just like they have magical powers, and the dwarf's power is that he's a dwarf. Like that's how he's magical. It's fucking.
It was weird too because this picture leaked and then Disney goes, "Oh no, that's not from the movie. Don't worry about it." And then a few hours later, "Oh, that is from the movie." Sorry.
Oh, that photo.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait. That's the equivalent of your lady going, "I found a used condom in the bedroom. There was no condom." Oh, that condom. yeah, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
And
it's
then-
from the movie.
It's been a bad year.
I know. A lot of people compare this to like, if a guy's playing a gay guy, you should hire a gay guy, or a disabled guy, you should hire an actual disabled person.
It's like, don't get me wrong, there's a line.
I think there is a line because with Hugh Grant, now you have a team of CGI people who have to shrink him.
So giving more jobs.
What if we made those guys dwarves? What if the CGI guys were dwarves? Because we are creating
all
jobs.
the CGI techs were dwarves. There you go. That's what
we confirm that
for every dwarf that you don't hire on your Oompa Loompa show, or your Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, or your elves, or your leprechauns. A member of the crew has to be a dwarf.
That would work.
There you go.
That's
a fair trade.
It's a fair trade. They still get work. They're still in the industry.
I feel like the guy, it can't be the guy who holds the boom mic, though.
No.
Too many people are going to crack their head walking in front of it.
You're going to have, you're going to have the sound of balls jiggling. That's what you're going to have the entire movie if a dwarf holds the boom mic.
Yeah, we'll give him a job at Crafty.
Yeah, Crafty.
Yeah, Crafty.
I mean, yeah, because then a dwarf gets to hand you a cookie. That's a good day for anybody if that happens.
Is anyone? I swear to God, a quesadilla tastes better when it's handed to you by a dwarf.
Absolutely.
And I know it sounds like more wives' tales, but fucking do the science.
Do the science
on it. This is not some crow jumping a ride on an eagle. This is not a microwave giving you brain cancer. I'm telling you, they've done studies. And a quesadilla tastes better when it's presented by a dwarf.
That's one of my favorite guys and my favorite phrases. Just studies have shown.
Yeah, studies.
Studies have shown. There's been studies. Okay, can you tell me what studies?
Yeah,
Studies.
it happened.
All right.
Yeah, that ceiling fan keeps the room nice and frosty cool when you're away at school.
Studies have shown.
Studies have shown.
Who paid? All right. Who paid for the study? Big fan, but
That's right.
Neither here nor there.
Yeah.
It's still a study.
All right, what else you got?
I've been wanting to do this all week. Let's break down this riverboat brawl.
Let's
Let's
go.
So, here's the update. So, 3 Alabama men are facing misdemeanor assault charges after a group of white men attacked a black dock worker on Saturday during a brawl involving multiple people along the Montgomery riverfront. So let's just watch the video. It's awesome.
There's so many angles.
So there's so many angles. So the story is a riverboat tried to park. Or tried to dock, waited like 45 minutes to an hour because a pontoon boat wouldn't move.
Yeah.
Pontoon boat had some white guys on it. So that black dock worker is asking them to move so this riverboat can park, because the riverboat parks there all the time. The riverboat has like 200-something people on it.
Yeah.
And people aren't really talking about
now
this.
Pause right here.
People aren't talking about it, but the alcohol's all about this, right?
Yeah.
You don't get on a pontoon boat in Alabama. You don't get off of a pontoon boat without being lit.
No one's
right?
been sober.
Right.
Yeah, alcohol and sun. And so I mean, look at these guys. So obviously things escalate, and one of the guys from the boat attacks the dock worker. So now the dock worker stops. He throws his hat in the air.
Kind of ceremoniously, let's go.
So that became a meme already. This is like a thing. Because he throws a hat in the air, and then he gets jumped. A guy in like salmon shorts does a flying knee kick, and now they're just pummeling.
And now it's like
on this guy.
8 guys on one security guard.
Yeah.
And
now people are watching. People on the riverboat.
And then here comes backup.
Here comes rescue. So we have one guy coming over to break up the fight.
Backup or black up?
Both, actually. Yeah. So he gets some black up. And then, but the big story here is in the bottom of your screen.
Bottom right. Look at the bottom right
of the screen. You see a guy swimming. He jumps off the boat to help. Now pause it. So this is a 16-year-old kid who works on the boat. His name's Aaron. He hasn't released his last name yet, but he did have a publicist, a PR release a statement for him saying like, "Look, I was just trying to do what I was taught to do."
Nobody trains. You can't train to do this.
Right. I know. It was a weird.
We have a scenario where some rednecks might park a boat and then they get upset because Alabama didn't cover the spread.
You got to go into the drink.
He's being hailed as a hero. But anyway, so he swims. So he has been labeled many things by Black Twitter. Pause it real quick. First off, it's a Black Aquaman. That was the original title, but now it has a
Black Woman. You can't just say Black Woman.
Well, they did Aquaman. That was what Black Twitter.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Scuba
good.
Gooding Jr. was up there.
Now we're talking.
Stingray
Hold on,
Leonard.
a Jew wrote that one. Sorry, black community. That was punched up by Jeff Ross. I know you think one of the folks in your community.
Scuba
I have more.
Jr.
Stingray Leonard.
Okay.
Float Mayweather.
Okay.
Home Buoy.
That's good. That's good.
And Michael B. Phelps.
Yeah, that's strong.
Yeah.
Michael B.
Michael
Phelps.
B.
All
Phelps
right,
is
so you
pretty
can
good.
go ahead and play it now.
All right,
So
let me. Can I say to everybody, as a former boxing coach, can everyone needs to learn how to throw just a straight right cross, just an actual picture. I see like just one punch. I can do it with anybody. I see people running at people to fight and making up a punch while they're running toward the person.
Yeah.
Like two hands coming from your waist and like flying toward the air.
Yeah.
It's not a punch.
No.
You can't. You understand if you ever just shadow box, and if you ever watch me shadow box, and you saw me throw an uppercut, you'd go, wow, that's a hard punch. Like that could hurt somebody. If I ever tried to throw a two-hand upper punch, I couldn't fucking punch out
It's less.
of a fucking piece of rice paper with two hands or two hands going far. I've seen 200,000 prize fights. Have you ever seen Muhammad Ali or George Foreman go, I'm going to give the double hand.
Yeah.
Have a punch in your arsenal that would be effective. This guy ran at the other guy and threw like a two-handed double nothing. Couldn't punch his way out of a fucking paper bag punch.
But that's also
have
drunk
a
guy.
punch.
That's drunk guy fighting too. Because I've been in a brawl where it was like I've also been jumped in like 7-on-2, and a guy did a flying knee and a flying double punch. But I'll tell you this: they're easy to dodge because
Of course.
So easy to
it's
dodge.
so slow.
Oh, and plus you left the ground.
And by the way, if it worked, your weird double flying uppercut thing, if that was at all effective, you would have seen it in the MMA and in the 200 years we've had sanctioned boxing in this country. You would have seen it somewhere. Somebody would have done it.
Yeah.
Now, like Brad, when he was in the car accident and he thought of you, I thought of you during this fight because there's a scene in The Hammer where you taught the girl how to punch.
Yes.
And you said it was like comes from the back foot, and you have to. And I used that in my brawl.
Oh, so proud.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Now, also, another thing I learned from this, and we should have learned it from professional wrestling, if you try to go upside a guy's head with a folding chair
Or a woman.
and you're just hitting him with the plastic part at the top, it's little to no damage.
No.
You need to swing folding chairs like an axe. Turn them vertically,
Turn 'em side.
come down, you'll get a nice piece of metallic metal, it'll slice through the air and cause some, you want to fuck someone up with a folding chair, turn it sideways and do it, don't turn it flat.
People have watched too many WWE and they're like, well, they hit him with chairs. Well, they hit him like that because the most surface area that hits you, the less
does
impact
no
it
damage.
has. Exactly.
It's fake.
That's why they do it that way.
All right.
Turn the chair sideways, cut down with a cutting motion, way more devastating.
Yeah, so just a heads up. So police are expected to bring more charges into the brawl after these three guys are charged, but they did say that they're unable to present any inciting a riot or racially biased charges at this time. Although CNN has reported that there are witnesses saying there was some racial slurs being yelled at.
What? On CNN? All right.
Mid fight, drunk Alabama.
Mid-fight.
It might come up.
I'd be shocked if there wasn't a couple racial
I would
slurs.
argue it's not racially motivated if it's mid-fight. It has to be pre-fight. David Fishwick, who's an entrepreneur and a lecturer and a genius, is going to join us, and we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with him right after this. First, there's the Jordan Harbinger Show. The Jordan Harbinger Show, a different kind of sponsor for this episode, the Jordan Harbinger Show. Well, if you're a fan of fascinating podcasts and interesting people, you should definitely check this one out. There's an episode for everyone, no matter what you're into. Jordan talks with Scott Adams about persuasion in a world where facts don't matter anymore. Man, is he right. Or you go inside the dark world of wildlife trafficking. You'll always find something useful to apply to your own life, like routine changes to boost productivity, or slight mindset tweaks that change how you see the world. Jordan's a good guy. We've had him on many times. I know the man well, and he's worth a listen. We enjoy the show, and we know you will too. So you can search The Jordan Harbinger Show. That is HARB as in boy, IN as in Nancy, GER on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Let me tell you about O'Reilly Auto Parts. Wow. You want to save some money? You want to save some gas? Here's a few things you can do to improve your fuel mileage. Check your tire pressure, people. If the tire pressure is low in one or more tires, you're going to use a lot more gas. Check out your owner's manual or inspect the tire yourself to find the recommended pressure. O'Reilly Auto Parts carries a wide range of tire gauges to make it easy to check your tires on a regular basis. It's also a lot safer when they're properly inflated. Always keep your fuel system clean. A fuel injector or carburetor cleaner is a simple, affordable way to remove carbon deposits and moisture from the fuel system and can improve the performance and efficiency of your engine. How about changing a clogged air filter? As an air filter clogs with dirt and debris, airflow becomes restricted and causes your vehicle's fuel management system to use more gas. Changing clogged filters increases the amount of air available to your engine, which boosts your fuel economy. For all the money-saving gas tips you need this summer, ask the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts or go to O'ReillyAuto.com.
In celebration of Jim Carolla's upcoming 92nd birthday, here's a list of 92 things Jim Carolla has never done. Number 91. Made a prank phone call or played a prank of any kind. Just one of 92 things Jim Carolla has never done. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
To be fair to my dad, when we lived in this piece of shit farmhouse in North Hollywood they bought for $11,000 in 1974, I walked into the house once and there was a lawnmower in the living room on the carpet. And I said to my dad, "What's it doing in here?" And he said, "I'm mowing the carpet." And I was like, "Really?" And then he laughed. And then I laughed. So he didn't set it up as a prank, though. Wow. It was just there. But he did give a wisecrack answer. So technically,
I would say that the type of person you want to be is when you have a lawnmower in the middle of your carpet and you say, "I'm mowing my rug." Your son goes, "Oh, that's a joke." Whereas your dad has set you up with the mindset based on his previous experiences that if you come in and he's mowing the rug, you're like, "Yeah, I could see my dad doing this."
Yeah, because he's dumb and he doesn't kid around. David Fishwick has joined us. Bank of Dave is the name of the movie. It's in theaters coming up August 25th. It's a story about him, but he's a self-made millionaire, and he fought to set up a community bank. And I don't even know how this story came about, David, but let's just get a little into your history first. I know you sort of self-made, left high school early in England, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was absolutely useless. I left school at 16 years old as no qualifications whatsoever. Straight onto a building site as a builder's labourer. And today I'm building the first new high street bank for 150 years in Britain. And Hollywood turned up and made a blockbuster movie about it. So everything's normal.
Here's a hypothetical that I never really thought about. You know, your story, I would go only in America, except for it wasn't in America.
Right.
But I walked onto a construction site when I was in my teens as well and worked as a laborer, and now look at me. But the story is it easier to do it in England or the United States? If you just said it's 2023, I got a fuck up high school student like you, like me, and said parents that didn't have money, and I'm just going to push you out into society, and you're going to have to hang a shield and stake your claim, hang a shingle, I should say. Would you rather this kid do it in England or the United States in current times?
Look, I think it's difficult wherever you do it. I have a business in America. I love America. I have an investment company there, and I've had it there for a lot of years. I've visited there. I've visited all across the States. I'm a big, big lover of America. And the thing is, it doesn't matter where you do it. The banks are making massive, massive bonuses all over the world, and the people are getting nothing. Let me tell you what we do. Burnley Savings and Loans, the Bank a Day, we help people get the best rate of interest on the high street. We then lend that money to people and businesses who can't borrow from the high street bank through no fault of their own. And then after the overheads are paid, we give the difference to charity.
Wow.
But everybody tries to stop you from doing it. You know, all these big banks and associations, they dislike me with a passion. But I quite like that.
How'd the movie come about?
Yeah, I mean, I got a phone call about 2 years ago from a guy called Piers Ashworth. He was actually out in Hollywood having dinner with the voiceover guy from the original documentary series that I made about the Bank a Day, because there's a documentary series all about it. And he was talking to him and he said, do you know somebody in the UK that we can make a feel-good movie about? He said, you should meet Dave. So he read me books, he watched some of my documentaries, and he gave me a call. He said, Dave, I want to make a movie about your life. And normally when they make a biopic about your life, normally you're dead. But I'm alive.
No shit.
It was really cool.
Very
and I said,
alive.
well, if you want to make a movie, get yourself to Britain. And he did, and he came over, and that's how it all started. But Piers Ashworth, the writer of the movie, he writes the Tom Cruise films, the Mission Impossibles, for Tom. And then when he said to me, he said, who would you like to play you, Dave? And I said, well, I look a bit like Tom, you know. And he said, well, the problem is you look a little bit too much like Tom. How about Rory Kinnear, who plays Tanner in Bond? And he looks more like me than I do.
Oh, in Bond. All right.
Me. Yeah, Rory Kinnear. He's Tanner out of Bond. And from Bond to Burnley, he's living the dream.
So did this guy write... First off, I'd love to write a Mission Impossible movie because I'd be like, page 16, Tom Cruise runs at full speed.
Sold.
Page 29, Tom stops running, gets on a motorcycle. Page 126, Tom gets off of motorcycle.
We're all butts are
Did
already
he
in
write
seats.
the last Mission Impossible? It was very interesting, the very last one, kind of very AI, sort of before its time. I don't know if you guys saw the latest one, but it was
Dead Reckoning, Part 1.
It's awesome.
well crafted.
Awesome. Yeah,
Probably
he
my
wrote
favorite
the first ones. And he actually wrote the very first one as well. The very first Mission Impossible, Piers Ashworth. He's just a really, really cool guy. And then, like I said, when he came over to Britain, he had a look around. I said, if we're going to do it, I want to do it in the places where it happened. Because I sell minibuses, you know, vans and trucks. And I said, well, if you're going to do it, film it in the garage, film it in my house, film it in Burnley. And that's what they did. They filmed it in all the places. And then Def Leppard turned up. They were another magnificent American group, and they're in it as well. So there's tons of stars from America as well. You've got Joel Fry out of the Game of Thrones.
He's great.
How did Def Leppard show up?
I'll be spoiling it for you if I tell you how they show up.
Oh, they're Def Leppard in the movie.
Yeah, they're in the movie for real.
Now, did you have an aha moment where you're like, what's the moment where you go, I'm going to start a bank? Was there an incident or did something happen to you?
Well, you know, a good few years ago, 2010, when the big crash came, I was selling buses. And then all of a sudden, the bank stopped lending to my customers. So I thought, well, if I believe in these people and I know what they do for a living and I know where they live, why don't I start lending them the money? So I lent them the money. They paid it me back. And I thought, this banking malarkey, it's not that difficult. So then I thought I could maybe start lending to other businesses and other people as well. So that's how it gave me the idea. So I went down to London and I said, I want to start a bank. And I met all these banking international people and all these heads of banks. And they asked me where I was from. And I said, well, I'm from Burnley. And that put them off for starters. And they said, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I sell buses. And they said, well, what do your parents do? What do your mum and dad do? I said, well, my dad's had 2 jobs all his life. He's a farmer and he's a tackler or a farm labourer with my dad. And he was a tackler fixing looms in the mill and my mum was a weaver. And he said, no. He said, you've not been to the correct school, you've not got the correct parents, and you're not from the correct town. You can never own a bank. And that's how it all started.
A spite bank.
Yeah.
To go back to Curb Your Enthusiasm, he made a spite business. I love spite businesses.
Your mom was a weaver?
Yeah, working in the factories, and my dad fixed the looms in there. And then the second job he had, he was worked on a farm as a farm labourer. So he always had two jobs, always worked really hard. But the bankers down in London, they just said I didn't have the correct parents. And I said, what do you know about correct parents? I said, they work so hard all the life, and unless you're in their club, them bankers, you can't become one of them.
Brad, hypothetical. What are the chances of you getting any woman you've ever been with to work at a factory? Mine are, I'm at 0. Okay. I don't think I could convince any woman I've ever been associated with or dated to get a factory job. But every person that's older than me tells a story about their parents, or they don't have to be older than me, same age, of a certain age. Some parent worked at a factory. Yeah. And some dad was a sharecropper at some point, too.
Also, as a dwarf, it's my life goal to also never work at a factory.
Oh, yeah. That's never,
there's a little thing
there's
going
a stigma
in there.
there.
Yeah, there's stigma.
Well, let me ask you this about, and you can tell me what you think about this, David. My problem with banks in the United States, for sure, but maybe they're this way everywhere, certainly in the UK. I grew up watching shows like the Beverly Hillbillies, and there was a banker, and even I love Lucille Ball show, Mr. Mooney, Mr. Drysdale, and what they had is they had clients. Now, they had clients that came in and opened a checking account, got a free toaster, but then they had big fish, sort of heavy hitter clients. And for those people, they would do things for those people. Jed Clampett is coming in. Well, give him whatever he wants. He keeps all his money here and stuff.
Yeah.
I then became essentially a big fish, and I get jack fucking squat. I get the exact same thing a first-time home buyer gets, where they go, I'll talk to my guy. He'll go, they need 20% down. I'll go, why do I need 20% down? Everyone gives 20% down. I'm like, I've owned $50 million worth of real estate, and I've never missed a payment, and I've done tons and tons of business with these people. Let me get this place with 10% down. Like, hey, the rules, and by the way, they always do, if we let you do it, then no, you do not. You don't have to let everyone do it. No. Just the people that have done $50 million in business and have never missed a payment.
You've established credibility.
Everything is just a fucking rule and a regulation now. There are no exceptions. And whatever a person who literally buys their first house and never owned a piece of property or anything before has the exact same rules and regulations and gets the exact same deal that I get from the bank buying a 25th residential home. I don't like it. I never thought being rich and white was going to be this way. I thought I was going to when cops pulled me over, I was just going to pull a 20 out and hand it to them and ask for an escort home when I was drunk. I did not know that there would be nothing. But is it that way in England as well? And what happened to the personal banker? Or is that you?
Yeah, well, they've all disappeared. I've got a right-hand man called David H., who's 70-odd years old, who started in banking when he was 16, old-fashioned bank manager. But one of the... You'll have a movie there. I mean, it's your movie. It's a Wonderful Life. It's an American movie. The Banker Dave's very similar to that, but a modern-day version of it. And it's real. Everything we do is real. We help people who can't borrow. David H., my right-hand man, looks at people as people, and he looks if they've had a problem in the past, and then he looks if they've got over it. Maybe they've got divorced, maybe they've lost a job, maybe they've had a bit of a tough spot in between the life, but they've got over it now. So how can a computer 300 miles away make a decision about a guy that wants to start a little window cleaning business? You can't. You need people looking at people, and we forgot that. And now we've got artificial intelligence that's going to make decisions. I mean, what's wrong with normal intelligence?
And then when you were giving out these loans, did you ever have a scenario where someone wasn't able to pay you back, where you didn't get your money back?
Yeah. Listen, we don't give free ice cream away. If people don't pay, and they ring up and we look at them as people. We look at why they haven't paid. We maybe add some months on to the end if they need a break in between. We'll work with them. Most people pay. I mean, I've got less than 5% bad debt, and I only lend to people who can't borrow from the high street bank. I mean, we've lent over $50 million out across the community. It's run by the community to benefit the community rather than the bonus culture. And one of the big things that's just happened recently, one of the charities we've just given to, a local school got in touch with me saying, Dave, the kids are coming to school in the morning starving. The kids can't afford to eat. The parents can't afford to feed them. So on one side, we've got bankers' bonuses at tens of millions of dollars. And on the other side, you know, I'm putting money into a school to start a breakfast club to feed the kids. The world's gone mad, fellas.
The other thing that pisses me off as a rich white guy, I'm not that interested in feeding kids. I'm more thinking about my own real estate portfolio. I got to be honest with you. But you tell me if it works this way in England, and you tell me if it works this way with your bank. The goddamn appraiser. I don't know if you had to deal with an appraiser, Brad.
I have.
The appraisers show up. I think everybody who owns a home has a pretty good idea of what that home is worth. It may be 10 grand this way or 10 grand that way, but you got a pretty strong idea. And that goes with almost anything that you own. Every appraiser I deal with, they just come in. You got a house, it's worth $2.2 million. That guy's appraised it at 1.4. And then you go, it's not. I got an offer for $2 million 2 days ago. And they go, he's got it 1.4. And then I go, why is he have it at 1.4? And then they go, well, the appraiser's coming low because I want to protect the bank because of the loan. And I go, then why do we have appraisers? If you're going to come in, I don't care if it's appraising Dorothy's shoe from The Wizard of Oz.
Sure.
Or a vintage Ferrari, or your home, or your warehouse. Just be as accurate as you possibly can, and then we will move forward with this transaction. Why just underinflate everything? Anyone who's ever had anything appraised has been devastated. Thank God these guys aren't in charge of measuring my dick. Like, it's 2.5 inches.
Yeah, 2.5 inches.
Come on.
Come on. It's literally more than
the bank's protecting themselves.
You know, when they say your $2 million house is worth 1.4, what you should say is, you get me one of them, then I'll have one off you.
Yeah, well, they don't work that way. I actually had a guy. I remember this clearly. I lived up in above Lake Hollywood in the Hollywood Hills. I had a guy come in and appraise my house. He was $1 million off. He was just $1 million too cheap. And when I complained to the bank or complained to the real estate person, I go, this guy's $1 million too low. He goes, yeah, he doesn't work this area. I go, all right, well, or he's from a different time.
And what are you supposed
when
to do
real
with,
estate was free? Like,
what are you supposed to do with that information? Just go, oh, he's not from this. Oh, well, thank you very much.
Well,
I'm very glad that you sent him out.
Make sure he's paid in full.
Yeah.
And then let's get a realtor from this area, an appraiser from this area, and then they could come in.
Yeah.
You guys do that lowball bullshit with the appraisal?
Well, to be honest, I mean, everything the bank does, they'll give you an umbrella when it's sunshining and take it off you when it rains. They don't actually want to take any risk at all. And what they've happened in the UK, and I'm sure it happened there in America, is when the furlough come out, all the banks took furlough money, they furloughed everybody, and they took all these grants and things. And now they're making billions of dollars again. They're not giving anything back to the people. They're still keeping it, and they're not passing on the interest rates to the people. So they're having it all their own way, and it's time that stopped. And I would love to speak to people in America about perhaps doing the same thing as we've done here in the UK. I'd love to meet with people out there who might want to do something similar, and I would gladly give all the advice and info, because it's been a long road and it's cost me millions and millions of dollars to find out. But I'd gladly give the information across for free to anybody in America who wants to have a go themselves.
Has anyone offered to buy you out? Has any large bank ever come to you and said that we'd like it?
I got one of the big banks that come, and they sent one of their weasels in with a piece of paper and a pen, and he told me to write down what I want. And I said, it's not for sale. And they said, well, what's your out? I said, what do you mean, what's me out? You know, when are you going to get out of this? How much are you going to get for it? How many millions do you want for it? I said, well, I don't want to get out. He said, well, when are you going to give up? I said, well, when I'm 150. He said, well, you'll be dead. And I said, well, I hope not, but I might be. But I said, that's when it'll be for sale, when I'm 150, which means never. And they don't get it. They want to buy it off me, break it up, and throw it in the bin. And it's never, ever going to be for sale at any price. You know, it's just not for sale.
I sort of feel sorry for that guy.
What?
Went in with a pad and a pen. And wrote it down. Bank of Dave, it's going to be in theaters, released initially. Is it getting a wide release? Is it boutique-y? Is it going to be VOD, as we call it? I don't know. They call it VOD in the UK?
It's going to be in cinemas everywhere first. And then there's been, I mean, it hit number one in the UK, it hit number one in Australia, it hits number one all over the place. I've just been out to Australia. America's probably my favourite place. If it was going to do number one anywhere, I'd love it to number one in America. It would just be amazing. And it'll be giving two fingers in the eye of the banks there as well as here. Because people who rob banks go to prison, but banks who rob people get paid bonuses. And I'll tell you what, guys, that has to stop.
83% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, by the way.
Heck yeah.
Dave, so I read that you revealed that you're going to give away 99% of your fortune when you die because you don't want to, quote, burden your son and your daughter with your riches. What do you mean by burden?
Listen, my children, one of them's a frontline police officer and the other one works with animals. And they both give back to society. And I say, look, you can do anything, but you can't do nothing. So I will help them do anything, but not nothing. I've got friends who have given tons of money to the kids, and it's really, really ruined them. Yes. Now, my children don't see it that way, but I will help them do anything. My two grandchildren, I have two little boys who are 6 and 12, and I have two grandchildren, and I'll do the same. I'll help them do anything, but not nothing. And that's important because most wealthy people, they climb up a tree, pull the ladder up, and they're frightened of anybody knowing anything or anybody having anything. And I think you can spend time in life really, really improving other people's lives. And that's what we do at the Bank of Dave, and hopefully that's what we'll do with the kids.
It's a really interesting mindset, and especially certain neighborhoods in this country. I may live in one of those. It's like a lot of talk about, well, what about the kids? What are we giving the kids? We have to take all the money and all the assets and all the things, not to mention 150 grand for each one of them accumulated for college. Like, but what about them? And I'm always like, well, they're going to have to get a job and like work and stuff and like do things. What are you talking about? What about every parent knows the kids? And what about the kids? First off, I wish anyone in my family had a fleeting thought about what about their kids. The notion is you become of age and then you leave the goddamn house and then you get a fucking job at some point, and that's how it works. But I got some good news, people. You actually learn things at a job, and sometimes struggling is good. You build up a little resistance and calluses and intestinal fortitude. It's good to have a little adversity, a little pushback, things to overcome. That's what we should be hoping for our kids, not everything served
totally
up.
Agree. Yeah, I totally agree. By burdening your children with not having to go to work for the next 10 generations of Dave Fishwicks, if they don't have to go to work, imagine what they're going to become. You know, they're not going to be able to give back to society. They're not going to be able to take part in society, leave enough for them to do anything, but not too much to do nothing.
I completely concur. And anybody I mean, the greatest saying ever is the devil makes work for idle hands. Anybody you know that just has too much downtime, that really doesn't need to get up and go somewhere, when Monday morning rolls around, it just hangs out, just turns into the worst person ever immediately, and nothing benefits them. And even on a micro level, like even in my own life, when I've been in between things or just had too much downtime, immediately you pick up every bad habit in the world, and you go from, well-honed killing machine into sack of oatmeal in like 4 days of literally just nothing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the old phrase, if you want to get something done, ask a busy person to do it.
Oh my God.
They have that momentum.
It's the truest thing in the world. I literally, the greatest example of that's Jimmy Kimmel. Like 2 days before he's hosting the Oscars, he's sending me emails about, do you have a tux? You need me to get you a tux? I can set you up with Rodney, the clothing guy. Rodney will measure you for a tux. And I'm like, why are you even thinking about this? Whereas one time I called my mom. And my mom lives in 800 square feet of junk in the San Fernando Valley. It's been torn down. And I said, Mom, I'm doing this project. It's like later on tonight. I need some like old pictures. If there's any old pictures of me, the house, the family, where would those be? She lives in a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house. She goes, I think there's a box, like a shoe box in my closet. Not walk-in. There's no walk-in closets. There's just lean-in closets. But she goes, there's a box up there. This is a Saturday. The woman has no job. I go, all right, do you think you could grab it down there? I'll come over in like 2 hours and I'll just grab the box because I need these pictures for this show I'm doing tonight. And she goes, today? I go, yeah, today. And she goes, I was thinking about making a smoothie. And I said, yeah, okay. But then after the smoothie, that's why I'm baking in a couple hours of lead time here, Mom. And she's like, I don't really think I can do it today. I said, Mom, it's just a closet in your room. You just have to reach up and take this box down. And she's like, yeah. And my mom was so married to lethargy that even my sarcasm couldn't break her out of this spell. I said, well, I guess this is just too much work, Mom. So you know what? Forget it. I'll do the show tonight without any of these visual references that would be so important to it because the closet is just too far away from your bed. And she went, I'm glad you understand. So I hung up the phone. And I just thought, it's so true. If you want something done, find someone who's busy.
Yep.
Insane.
And Dave is busy.
Dave is busy. Dave's got the movie coming out on the 25th. He does, you do a lot of speaking engagements too, right?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I have half a dozen businesses. I have a property business, with a minibus business, with a media business, with a bank now. We have a leasing business. We buy and sell land and all sorts of things. But all that comes from carrying a bucket of cement in each hand for $50 a week. That's how it started at 16 years old.
Yes.
Hard work puts you where some good luck can find you.
Dude, can I ask you a quick bus-related question?
Of course you can.
We're trying to get electric buses going in this country. We just had this huge electric bus company just go belly up and just basically shut their doors just in the last few days. We've given them billions of dollars and they've gone belly up. I don't know if you know that story. I don't know if you're working on an electric bus. I don't know what the future of the electric bus is, but we're not able to pull it off here in the States, evidently. So what's coming and when are we getting one?
To be honest, what I've been doing, I've been working on an electric bus. And I actually contacted Elon Musk on Twitter at Fishwick David. I know you guys are on Twitter too. And I contacted Elon and I said, look, Elon, I know you're interested in banking and energy in the UK. I'd gladly team up with you. I told him I have an investment company in America. I'm a big fan of America. And I also said, I'm working on an electric bus. I'd gladly team up with you. And you want to start a bank in Britain? I'd happily team up with that as well. So Elon and Dave, the bank of Elon and Dave, or the bus of Elon and Dave, I'd very, very be interested in teaming up with Elon. We are almost there with electric bus. I'll probably have it within the next 2 to 3 months. It'll be done.
Really?
And I'll come back on the show and I'll send you some pictures.
Full size, sort of municipal style or smaller?
We'll start with something with 20-something seats and then go to 30-something seats and then up to 50 seats. What we'll do is we'll turn a van that's electric into a bus.
Oh,
so we're
okay.
already well on with the electric van. I've got tested floors. I've been in the bus job a lot of years. I started with one bus 30 odd years ago, and today I'm the largest supplier of buses in the country. But it's not where you start; it's where you finish that counts.
So you think we think we're going full electric in the next several years?
I think it's a long way off still.
Oh, it is.
We can put some electric vehicles out there, no problem. But there's an awful lot of petrol cars on the road. A lot of people like them cars. There's going to be. I mean, they say that you've got to get 80, 90,000 miles before you get to the point where an electric vehicle then starts to make sense because you've used that much in building the electric vehicle in the first place. So I think we're a good few years away. But I mean, personally, we'll have an electric bus in the next maybe 12, 18 weeks. And if Elon turns up, we'll throw that over to America as fast as we possibly can.
Well, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but if there is a bus coming out of England and it's electric and it's not a double-decker, then fucking keep it. I want a double-decker electric bus.
Gotta be red.
Yeah, I don't want to see some Dodge van converted
with
a couple lawn chairs in there. I want a full double-decker.
I agree. It needs to be 66 or a bendy bus with 90 seats in it.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, the ones that have the sort of accordion in the middle.
That's right.
All right, David Fishwick.
That's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it the Adam bus.
Please.
Please.
And it catches on fire, and I get all the bad news. Bank of Dave's the name of the movie. Is coming to theaters August 25th. Doing the Lord's work. Dave Fishwick. Speaker.com is where you go. And come back and check up with us when that bus hits the road.
I'll come pick you up, guys.
Please.
See you very soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Pleasure.
David. Brad Williams going to be everywhere. Go to bradwilliamscomedy.com. I'm going to be at Kimmel's Club tonight in Vegas doing, I think, 2 shows, and then Appleton, Wisconsin, and Honolulu and Louisville, San Francisco. Just go to Carolla.com for all the live shows as well, and you can check out the Comedy Fantasy Camp as well. Leno's doing that. Harlan Williams, Alonzo Bowden, and it just keeps going. So, until next time, Adam Carolla for David Fishwick and Brad Williams and Chris Maxipata saying, mahalo.